We know that Russia is experiencing difficulties in the face of the support coming to Ukraine at this time when the Russian war in Ukraine is continuing. Especially with the Bayraktar unmanned aerial vehicles going from Turkey to Ukraine, they do not let the Russian armies breathe. Bayraktar TB2 can infiltrate the areas where the Russian armies are located, and they receive intelligence about many things, such as where the Russian army is fighting and where it stores its ammunition, by conducting inspections without being connected to signals, thanks to Bayraktar. Bayraktar sent not only a UAV, but also an armed unmanned aerial vehicle, UAVs, to Ukraine. With the Sihas, the Russian army was allowed to inflict many heavy losses. Russia, on the other hand, was looking for unmanned aerial vehicles for its own army in exchange for these flags. In recent weeks, a U.S. official said that a delegation from Russia went to Iran for the first time on this issue, and representatives of the two countries agreed on an unmanned aerial vehicle, and Iran will soon provide training. On top of that, there have been developments this week. A U.S. official mentioned this issue in an interview. They have started to implement training plans after Russia's drone agreements with Iran in recent days, the official said. He said Iran had provided training to the Russians on unmanned aerial vehicles. Explaining that he had detected them from satellite images, the official explained that the Russian delegation had come twice for training and that training had been given by Iranian officials in an airspace. In addition, the Russian military said that armed unmanned aerial vehicles have also begun to examine this agreement, which it has made. The model of the unmanned aerial vehicles sent from Iran to Russia is the shaded 191 and shaded 192 model. Both aircraft are capable of carrying guided missiles, and it is believed that the brutal Russian military will try again the tactic of attacking densely populated areas of citizens, which it has done to intimidate Ukraine. However, Ukraine is now more prepared in this regard. In the last aid package sent by the United States, there is a defensive weapon sent just for this purpose. Russia is mercilessly bombing settlements. The air defense systems close to the settlements remained weak. Because of this, the U.S. sent the NASAMS defense missile systems. This system is based on a ground-on-land, and due to the fact that it is modern technology, there is enough maneuverability. In addition, the defense range is far and the radar systems work very well so that it does not miss any attack from its hands. The bombs sent by Russia destroy them before they reach residential areas and reduce the risks of loss of life and injury extremely much. Although the Russians also have unmanned aerial vehicles, they still have Turkish-made Bayraktar UAVs in the Ukrainian army, and these UAVs are modern technology and currently the most advanced and powerful vehicles today. The Ukrainian army is destroying Russian tanks, warehouses and command posts with Turkish-made UAVs. The Turkish-made Bayraktar UAVs inflicted heavy losses on Russia and played a major role in changing the course of the war. Decrying the growing relationship between Russia and Iran, the official mentioned how dangerous this will lead to consequences and that it poses great risks for countries in the Middle East. He talked about the risks that the growing relations between the two countries will create and decried why there is a need for the United States to maintain its presence in the Middle East. When news anchors asked the Kremlin spokesman about the UAVs coming from Iran during an interview he tried to do in the Kremlin spokesman did not comment on the issue. Ukrainian President Zelensky said that this war will end after the liberation of Crimea and the return of the Crimean Peninsula. Volodymyr Zelensky made a statement in front of the cameras last night. He said that Russia started its first war against Ukraine in Crimea and that they would end this war with the liberation of Crimea back. Zelensky said that he could not say anything for sure about the date when the war will end, but he has many plans and tactics for taking back Crimea. Zelensky said that Crimea originally belonged to Ukraine and, of course, they would take it back. The recapture of Crimea will ensure peace both for the countries on the Black Sea and for Europe, he said, because the Russian military, which currently uses the Crimean Peninsula as a military base, poses a global threat to the Black Sea region and Europe. He said that by pushing back Russian forces from Crimea, they will ensure a stable peace environment for both Europe and the Black Sea. The Russian army invaded the Crimean Peninsula in 2014 and later annexed it. The year is 2022, and Ukraine will take back control of the Crimean territory in the coming days. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine recently said in a speech that there is danger in many parts of the country due to the war. He explained that there are mines in many places that have not been exploded in unprecedented size for years and that they need to be cleared. Since the war has turned in favor of Ukraine and it is felt that the end of the war is approaching, there will be a risk for Ukraine that everywhere will be a minefield after the war is over. For this, the Ukrainian government had requested support. The authorities said that there is a risk of finding mines in an area of about 200,000 square kilometers and that this entire area will be scanned. For this, the United States announced a support. He said that the United States will provide support to the clearance teams working for this demining operation, the training and equipment of the clearance teams. The amount of this support has been announced as $89 million so far. This amount will not be paid to the Ukrainian government. Pay will be provided to non-governmental organizations and contractors who are working on this cleanup, and all these teams will be distributed to each point of the country to carry out the demining process. It is known that 100 teams will carry out this cleaning process at the moment. The Ukrainian government has announced that this operation should be carried out as soon as possible and in the most careful way. There is a possibility that the brutal Russian army has left explosives in many parts of the country. The presidents of the UK and France had a telephone conversation about Ukraine. In this meeting, they talked about the support given to Ukraine and how Ukraine has changed the course of the war after the support they have made themselves. The weapons and equipment sent to the Ukrainian army made a significant difference in the course of the war. Especially anti-tank and multiple rocket launchers from Western countries, Harpoon missiles from the USA, HIMARS missile system and finally the NASAMS system and Turkish-made Bayraktar unmanned aerial vehicles played a huge role in the war. They almost humiliated Russia, which considers itself a great power. If Russia loses this war, it is not thought that it will be able to start another war within this century. Russia will not have such strength and courage. However, after this attack by Russia, it caused Ukraine to strengthen. During their meeting, the leaders said that they will stand by Ukraine in this war, no matter how much support it needs. The successful separation of Russia from this war will lead to the fact that it will also wage war on the West, that is, on European countries. They announced that they would support Ukraine to the end in order to prevent this war from continuing in the West. He also spoke about the food crisis in their bilateral conversation. As a result of the crisis created by Russia in the ports, the ships could not ship and led to a food crisis at the end of a few months.